Great Britain's David Coulthard, former Formula One driver. Right, let's have a look what David Coulthard had to say about Abu Dhabi. So, type into the BBC, type into Google or whichever your search engine is, BBC Sport, Abu Dhabi 2021. This article will come up, which is the BBC's Andrew Benson lying about what happened there, not mentioning the true reality of what was going on, and halfway down his article, or partway down his article, is this little TV clip of David Coulthard. So let's have a look what David Coulthard has to say when asked about Abu Dhabi. And let's explore the authenticity of this David Coulthard. Here we go.
It was a huge sporting moment between two fantastic drivers and teams, and we.
A huge.
So Lewis Hamilton who put in a brilliant.
It was a huge sporting moment between two fantastic drivers and teams, and we wanted, all of us, to see it played out on the racetrack in a non-controversial way. But what looked like it was going to be a fairly textbook drive from, lights out to checkered flag for Lewis Hamilton was turned on its head when we had Latifi crash his car, seemingly trying to overtake himself. It was the most silliest little incident that led to the safety car, and then, as you've just described, a sequence of events that none of us have seen before.
And this is the interesting thing, isn't it? I guess,
a sequence of events that none of us have seen before. Okay. That should set the alarm bells ringing, shouldn't it? What is going on here? Something has just happened that none of us have ever seen before. If you were witnessing that in a game of football, if you've just witnessed something that you've never seen before, would everybody be going, oh, no, that's a bit strange. We've never seen that before. Is that the way you deal with it? And we've got whoever this sausage is, he's going to question it and again lead the narrative.
Anyone new to the sport, perhaps hasn't watched it before, will be baffled by the rules. Do you think they're...
Not really. You can quite easily explain the rules of sport to people. Okay, it's quite simple. So projecting that the rules of the sport are somehow baffling is you reading a script for a narrative. So not only is it BBC Sport a part of the narrative, BBC, this is like a news part of it, isn't it? This is just wrong.
There needs to be a rule change here because it does seem...
Why does there need to be a rule change? The rules are fine, right? They operated like that for 10 years. They've now reviewed the rules and they still operate like that. There doesn't need to be a rule change. So what are you trying to project?
Strange that Lewis Hamilton, who put in a brilliant race, a great performance, should be penalised, losing out on the world title in this case because of the rules that were implemented at the end of that race.
Because the rules were broken, okay? But look at the way you're... do the rules need to be changed because of that? No, what you need to do is you need to hold the corrupt parties to account. You need to expose the corruption. You can expose the fact that, hey, if this was a game of football, that referee has clearly fucking cheated. Right? So we put him in prison. We ban him from ever refereeing again. Okay? We fine everybody and actually imprison the people that are party to this. This comes from FIFA. This comes from the officials in FIFA that actually sanction this. They fix the outcome of that event. That's what you do in football. This is what you do in Formula One. This is the FIA who have cheated. In conjunction with Red Bull, in conjunction with Sky Sports, in conjunction with F1 TV, and actually in conjunction with every team on that grid, because none of them protested in the way they should have. They were all complicit. They just let it happen. Don't say anything, take the money. Don't say anything, take the paycheck. Like every single one of these people involved has just done. Don't say anything, take the paycheck, take the paycheck, take the paycheck. Shh, don't say the truth, take the paycheck. And the rest of the media, if you work in the media, You just say the narrative. If you say the wrong thing, you get sacked. If you say the wrong thing, you get sacked. If you say the wrong thing, you get sacked.
It's a highly complex sport where you could argue, because of the technology that's involved, it's not a pure sport where it's not just human endeavor.
David, we're talking about the fact that the rules of the sport have just been broken. And you address that by going, oh well, it's a highly technical sport. You know, we've got cars in and everything, and you know they're really fast. Right, that is not addressing the fact that the rules have just been broken. So why are you bringing that in as some sort of gaslighting thing to divert people? Yeah, it's really complicated, isn't it? Right, you're dealing with technical machinery that's you know quite high tech. Whoopie do. So, oh yeah, you know, yeah, we don't know what we're doing here because them cars are really advanced. Right, but we're talking about the rules that dictate racing. They're not that advanced, are they? They're quite simple. You know, oh, but them rules have got, oh, they might have active suspension, they might have computer controlled wing that operates when you get so fast. It might have this, it might have that. You know, well, all them things are crap examples, but they're irrelevant. They don't reflect the rules of what are the rules when you go racing in those machines that might be complex. So don't start gassing everybody up with the bullshit.
Ever, you know, in its purest form against each other. You've got the performance of the car before the driver even gets in there. So there are so many rules that are constantly being clarified through the course of the season that if anybody...
Really? Are they technical directives, or are we talking about sporting regulations, which are the rules of how the sport is undertaken?
follows it closely, you'll know there's always little tweaks to wing structures and technicalities of the cars.
Yeah, there you go. So little tweaks to wing structures and technicalities of the cars. So that means that the race director can cheat. That means the race director can pick out just two cars, knowing one car's got a significant advantage, break the rules of the sport and set it up for a race-off between two cars, knowing the result that's going to be generated by that. Oh yeah, it's because it's quite complex. It's quite technical, isn't it? What are you talking about?
The regulations are, and the sporting regulations are hugely complex as well. And you're
They're not really, are they? They're not really, because you competed under those sporting regulations. How many times did you fall afoul of them through not knowing what they are? If you're a competitor in sport, knowing what the rules are, knowing the rules of what it is you're allowed to do within that sport is pretty basic. You play any sport, you know what you're allowed to do, you know what you're not allowed to do, you know what you're going to get penalised for. That's called the rules of the sport. All sports have them, okay? So let's not say, oh, yeah, the rules are really complicated and nobody really understands. Nobody really knows what they're doing in Formula One. Really? Nobody knows what they're doing. It's just a fucking free-for-all. Everybody just rocks the fuck up and does what the fuck they want. It's just chaos. Anything can happen because the rules are so complex. Utter bollocks.
absolutely right that the sequence of events of only allowing 5 cars to overtake Lewis before the safety car came in is not something that typically has happened before.
Typically, it's not typically happened. Like never happened before, right? Not only have you just taken the cars out of the way of second place and just allowed them to move up, but denied third place the opportunity of challenging for second, right? So you've only released 5 of the 8 lap cars, so that's never happened before. Okay, it's this notion of typical, right? It's nothing typical. It's just not happened, and then you've not performed the mandatory safety car lap. So there's 2 elements of that.
But the FIA do have another rule which allows the race director to override that.
No, it doesn't. That rule does not do that, David Coulthard, but you are being paid to present that is how it is. David Coulthard, former driver is telling you that the FIA have this rule which allows the race director to break the rules of the sport. We have rules of the sport, but one of those rules is that the race director can break the rules. Bullshit. Utter bullshit. Let's write a set of rules for the sport, but rule number 15, you can break the rules. Bullshit, 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 bullshit.
And make the decision he feels is correct. So it comes.
He makes the decision that he feels is correct, and the race director felt, in this race, I'm not interested in any of the competitors other than Max Verstappen, because I'm going to move all of the cars that are out of the way of Max. I'm going to get them out of the way to allow Max on his fresh soft tyres to be right on the back of Lewis. I will protect Max by leaving 2 lapped cars in play and making sure third can't challenge Max. And then I will not permit those lapped cars that are released, just 5 of the 8, to make it around to the back of the pack to resume their previous positions and ability to challenge the cars that were in front of them. And I will just set them off for that one remaining lap to enable Max Verstappen to win the World Championship. Rule 15.3 enables me to do that because I think that's the best thing to do. That's what Michael Massey thought the best thing to do was. And you're validating that, David COULTHARD, with your explanation. Thank you.
Down to one individual. So
yeah,
there needs to be
one individual.
clarity.
One individual's allowed to determine that. That's what you're telling us. This sport of Formula One is one person can decide who gets to win. That's what you're telling us, David COULTHARD.
Going forward, we can't have debates and stewards having to look at this.
Debates. What's debatable? What's debatable? Again, this is the way the sport wants to present this. Oh, there's now going to be a debate. There will be some people that think this is right, and there will be somebody that thinks this is wrong. And we will have a debate to see who thinks it's right and who thinks it's not a debatable situation. Some things are clear cut. They are binary. They either are or they aren't. There is no fucking argument over that. But let's present that it's going to be a debate.
Several hours after the checkered flag has fallen, it's unsavoury, I think.
It's unsavoury. It's unsavoury. What's unsavoury? What's unsavoury is the cheating that's going on. That's what's unsavoury. Is that the governing body is corrupt, that F1 TV created a narrative. Sky Sports F1 lied about the rules of the sport before the rules were broken. The FIA, not just Michael Massey, all 10 people, maybe more, in FIA race control who know the rules of the sport, know the implications of those rules of the sport, oversaw that cheat. They played that cheat out live on global television. Mercedes then appealed, because there is an appeal process in this particular sport where you can appeal for wrong things and results can be overturned. That is the process. That's within the rules of the sport. And what happened was that appeal process was corrupt. There's a lot of wrongs going on here. There's a lot of wrongs. It's not just one mistake. It's not just one error. Oh, this is one of these things that we need to get to the bottom of. We need to make sure this can't happen again. We need to address this one issue. There's a lot more than one issue, isn't there? There's a lot more than one issue.
Overall for everybody on what has been a fantastic racing championship.
Oh, yeah, but other than that, it's been fantastic.
The reality is that both Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen deserve this title.
The reality is they both deserved it, right? So we'd get that in a game of football, wouldn't we? We'd get that in the World Cup final where the referee was corrupt and gifted the match to one team, right? Let's say there's a foul committed well outside the box, clearly outside the box, and the referee gives a penalty, enabling that team to win the World Cup. And then you'd get the expert after the match. You know, you'd get Gary Lineker or you'd get Alan Shearer. And rather than talk about how corrupt the referee is, they'd be saying, but the one thing's for sure, both teams deserve that game to win that game. So it's all right. It's fine. We can't argue that both teams deserve to win that. Do you think that's what they'd be talking about? Do you think that's how they'd be presenting that?
But they've both been exceptional. They've been better than the rest. Sadly, someone had to lose out, but it's just, I think.
Sadly, somebody had to lose. So, the fact that they got cheated, well, somebody had to lose, didn't they? Somebody had to lose.
The manner in which it happened on the very last lap that will leave a lot of people disillusioned.
Hate won't win. Hate won't win. Tackling online abuse. Tackling online abuse. Yeah? Is that what you're doing? Hate won't win. What you've done, you have caused hate by not spelling out what is clear, what is true. You've said there will be debate. There will be debate. What do you think debate is causing? War. What do you think by lying you are validating the opinions of people who are wrong? So therefore, you create conflict, you create war. That generates hate. And you are projecting the message hate won't win. And you tackle your online abuse by suppressing the truth. That's how you tackle it. Oh, somebody's exposing the truth. That's going to cause some conflict. We need to shut them down. We need to shut them down. Hate won't win. The BBC. Fuckers.